How did you decide to make those three things focal points of your research, of your study, and your writing? And talk to me about the interplay, because most people are going to think heaven and money are on two separate planets. You're writing about both of them and the intersection. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, it's actually when I was writing what was then maybe my third or fourth book called Money, Possessions, and Eternity. It came out in 1989, and I was doing all of this research, and it drove me, as I was researching on what the Bible says about money, it drove me to the subject of heaven,
Huh.
largely because of what Jesus said in several passages. One of them is Matthew 6. Store up for yourselves treasures, not on earth, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth
Mm,
and rust don't corrupt, where thieves don't break in and steal.
yeah.
For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Well, so he's saying, whoa, how do you actually do that? Well, it becomes very clear in the context and from parallel passages that it means give your money away, as Luke 12 puts it, give your money to the poor, and then you will provide for yourself money bags or purses or wallets or, different translations. Money belt is probably the best one. And
Yeah.
then you'll have many money belts with treasures in heaven. And I'm going, okay, so what our attitude and actions toward our money that we have right now are going to affect eternity and allow us to enjoy treasures in heaven.
Wow. Who would have thought that a study of money would lead you to a study of heaven? And let's talk about that verse for a minute from Matthew chapter 6, because I think what most people hear, or most people have just absorbed somewhere in the Christian faith, is don't store up treasure on earth, period.
Right,
And we
right. And
forget the whole second aspect to what Jesus actually said.
exactly. And the whole point of not storing up treasure on earth is so you can put it somewhere where, in other words, it's not, the problem isn't the treasures on earth. The problem is if you're doing that, number one, your heart is going to be with it, because where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So your heart will be on earth
Yeah.
if your treasures are on earth. But if you store up treasures in heaven, then your heart will be transferred from earth to heaven. And that's how you get the eternal perspective of this whole thing, is by relocating your assets from earth to heaven, where they'll last forever. And then your heart goes there. And now you look around you and you see people and you see life in different ways. And you think differently and you live differently.
So you're saying we can shift our hearts to be more eternally centered, grounded, focused by what we do with our money.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.